The story begins with Father Gabriele Amorth, the Vatican's chief exorcist, reminding us that the devil is happiest when people mock him or deny his existence. In June 1987, Father Gabriele is summoned to Tropea, Italy, to investigate a man reportedly possessed by an evil force. When he arrives, he discovers the man speaking fluent English, even though he's never learned it. The man introduces himself as Satan. As Father Gabriele confronts him, he demands that if the man is truly the devil, he should reveal his name and explain why he chose to possess this particular person instead of someone stronger. Satan arrogantly claims he can possess anyone he wants. Gabriele challenges him to prove it by possessing a nearby pig. When the demon hesitates, Gabriele tells him he doesn't believe him. The demon then moves into the pig. The priest then orders that the pig be shot, killing it instantly, which frees the man from possession. The scene then shifts to Julia, a widow whose husband died a year earlier in a car accident. Julia moves from America to Spain with her daughter Amy and her young son Henry, after inheriting an old abbey that's been in her late husband's family for generations. Her plan is to renovate the property and then sell it. Upon their arrival, they're greeted by Father Escobel, the local priest, and Carlos, the contractor in charge of the renovation. Not long after, strange things begin to happen. Henry finds a hole in a basement wall that leads to a sealed door marked with the Vatican's emblem. The door appears old and cracked. Julia searches for Henry while Amy, a rebellious teenager, grows increasingly frustrated with their move to Spain. Meanwhile, a month after his previous encounter with the possessed man, Father Gabriele returns to Italy and is summoned to Rome by the Council of Bishops. Cardinal Sullivan, the head of the panel, scolds him for performing an exorcism without official approval. Gabriele explains that he wasn't performing a true exorcism but rather using psychological theater to help a mentally ill man. Bishop Lumumba supports him, pointing out that Gabriele sends 98% of his cases to doctors or psychologists, handling only the 2% that he believes are genuine possessions. Cardinal Sullivan, unimpressed, tells Gabriele that the Vatican is considering removing the position of chief exorcist altogether, calling his methods outdated. Gabriele suspects that their hostility might have something to do with the article he wrote about a girl named Rosaria Valendas, who died during an earlier case. He insists that anyone who has an issue with him should take it up with the Pope since his appointment came directly from his bishop. Back in Spain, one of the workers in Julia's basement hears strange noises coming from the same hole Henry found. When he lights a flare to see better, a sudden explosion occurs, apparently from a gas pocket. After the accident, Carlos refuses to continue the renovation, realizing how dangerous the site has become. The cracks in the mysterious door begin to deepen, and soon after, Henry starts experiencing violent seizures. He suddenly warns his mother that everyone will die that night and then scratches his own face. Julia rushes him to the hospital, where doctors find nothing physically wrong. They suspect psychological trauma instead. Julia explains that Henry was with his father the night of the fatal accident and hasn't spoken since. The doctors give her a sedative to use if Henry becomes violent again. Later that night, as Amy goes to the kitchen to get ice, the power suddenly cuts out. Henry jumps up in distress. Julia tries to calm him, but he acts strangely, grabbing her chest and insisting that he needs to breastfeed. When Julia notices the word hate carved into his stomach, she panics and calls Father Escobel. When the priest arrives, the demon controlling Henry mocks him, calling him the wrong priest, and violently throws him out of the room. At the same time in Rome, Father Gabriele meets with the Pope, who acknowledges that many church officials, including Cardinal Sullivan, no longer believe in Satan's existence. The Pope tells him about Henry's possession in the San Sebastian Abbey and warns that the site has long been a source of great evil. He orders Gabriele to investigate. Gabriele travels to Spain immediately. When he arrives, Father Escobel welcomes him warmly, admitting that he's read all of Gabriele's writings. Julia reluctantly agrees to let the priest help. When Gabriele enters Henry's room and begins to pray, Henry's eyes change, glowing with something inhuman. The boy mocks the priest, saying prayers are meaningless within those walls. Gabriele presses a holy metal seal against Henry's forehead and demands the demon's name. The voice inside Henry replies that it isn't afraid and won't be tricked into entering a pig again. Then it taunts Gabriele, claiming to know his soul and every sin he's ever committed. Suddenly, the priest is forced to relive a haunting memory from his time as a soldier during World War II. He recalls lying among the corpses of his comrades, pretending to be dead rather than facing the enemy. When the vision ends, a dead red bird falls from Henry's mouth, terrifying Gabriele. Realizing this demon is far stronger than any he's faced before, Gabriele tells Escobel about the incident and asks Julia about any trauma that could have drawn the demon to Henry. He believes the evil spirit exploited Henry's emotional wounds to gain entry. While they talk, Amy hears noises outside. When she investigates, she gets a phone call from her dead father, warning her that everyone will die that night. Panicked, Amy tells her mother what happened. Gabriele realizes that the demon has the power to reach into their pasts and manipulate memories. Knowing that learning a demon's true name weakens it, Gabriel prepares for another confrontation. He warns Escabel that the demon will try to use their sins against them and urges him to confess. When Gabriel discovers that it's been 8 months since Escabel's last confession, he instructs him to ask for forgiveness for all his sins at once. He tells him to remain steadfast in prayer and never respond to the demon's provocations. During the next exorcism attempt, Henry convulses violently, and the lights suddenly go out. Gabriel lights his lighter and is horrified to see the ghost of Rosaria, the girl from his earlier case, accusing him of abandoning her when she needed him most. The demon then turns its attention to Escabel, mocking his faith and revealing that he had a secret affair with a woman named Adela. As Escabel is overwhelmed by guilt, the demon drives him to nearly strangle himself. Gabriel intervenes, pulling him back, but the demon laughs, taunting him for falling into its trap. Later, Escabel tearfully admits that Adela wanted him to leave the priesthood for her, but he lied to her and let her go. Gabriel prays for God to forgive his young partner, realizing the demon's true strategy is far greater than just possessing one boy. As Gabriel studies the abbey grounds, he notices strange symbols and structures in the garden that he hadn't paid attention to before. Signs that the abbey itself may have been built to contain something far more ancient and dangerous than anyone realizes. After instructing Father Escabel to watch over Henry's room, Father Gabriel notices something unusual in the garden: a hidden Vatican symbol etched into the stone. He remembers what the Pope told him earlier about the abbey's dark history and the church's previous troubles there. As he lifts a heavy concrete lid nearby, the demon's power surges, and Julia's cross turns upside down on its own. Moments later, Julia wakes up to find herself violently pulled into her bed by an unseen force. Screaming, she's dragged beneath the sheets while Amy is thrown across the room and locks herself inside the closet in terror. Hearing Henry's cries for help, Father Escabel rushes in, but as he approaches, Henry suddenly bites his ear and hisses that no one will survive the night. Meanwhile, Father Gabriel investigates the garden further and discovers a hidden well beneath the Vatican seal. He drops a burning piece of paper inside to see what lies below, but the well erupts in a violent explosion. Using his prayers, Gabriel manages to drive the demon back temporarily, giving everyone a moment of safety. He moves Julia and her children to the local church, deciding that the abbey is far too dangerous to stay in. Later, Gabriel takes Escabel back to the well, where they uncover a seal belonging to the Spanish Inquisition, a grim reminder of the church's darkest era, when people were tortured or killed for refusing to convert. Exploring deeper beneath the abbey, they find the same cracked wall Henry discovered earlier. Gabriel smashes through it with a hammer and reveals an ancient underground chamber. Inside lies a hidden cemetery, the Tunnel of Sin. There they find the skeletal remains of the Cardinal Protector, the last guardian of the abbey, locked inside a cage at the center of the catacombs. Gabriel explains that the cage wasn't meant to imprison the man, it was meant to protect him in case an exorcism failed, sealing him safely away from the demons he fought and burying the secret forever. Back in Rome, the Pope continues researching the abbey's history and finds a letter written by the Cardinal Protector centuries ago. The letter reveals that San Sebastian Abbey has long been controlled by a powerful demon. It details the failure of every exorcism attempt and warns that the demon has claimed full dominion over the land. Shocked by the revelation, the Pope collapses from a heart attack and is rushed to the hospital. Upon waking, he tries to contact Bishop Lumumba to warn Father Gabriel, but his condition worsens, and he ends up coughing blood onto Cardinal Sullivan. Meanwhile, Gabriel and Escabel discover a locked door deep within the catacombs. Inside the ribcage of the Cardinal Protector's remains, Gabriel finds a key. They use it to open the door, entering a deeper cave filled with choking sulfur fumes. Gabriel realizes they are nearing the gates of hell itself. Inside, they discover the skeletal remains of Father Ojeda, once one of the church's greatest exorcists. Next to him lies an old notebook describing his struggle in 1475. The writings reveal that the same demon now possessing Henry had possessed countless others through the centuries, including Father Ojeda himself. When the Vatican learned this, they sealed the demon away, imprisoning it in the underworld. The notebook also mentions that the demon commands 200 fallen angels, each hidden in one of 200 sacred sites. San Sebastian Abbey, it turns out, was built directly over one of these gateways. The demon, known as Asmodeus, sought to free its army and destroy the church. Escabel realizes that the recent renovation work may have accidentally broken the seal, releasing the ancient evil. Back at the church, Julia wakes up and finds that Amy has disappeared. She rushes to Henry's room, where she finds her daughter sitting beside him, acting strangely. Henry, now speaking in the demon's voice, says everything is fine. When Julia tries to pull Amy away, the demon violently throws her against the wall, twisting Amy's head unnaturally as it controls her body. The priests rush in and finally identify the demon as Asmodeus. At that same moment, the Pope's health sharply declines. Amy managed to sedate Henry, giving them brief relief. Escabel notes that Asmodeus feeds on exorcists, just as it had devoured Father Ojeda's spirit centuries earlier. Gabriel realizes the demon's goal is to possess him, the Pope's own exorcist, so it can use his power to destroy the church from within. Knowing this, Gabriel decides to confront his sins one last time. He confesses that during World War II, he disobeyed orders and hid among the corpses of his fallen comrades, surviving while others died. That guilt drove him to dedicate his life to God. He also admits that he failed Rosaria, the girl he once wrote about, when she came to him after being sexually assaulted. He dismissed her case, believing she was mentally ill rather than possessed, and she took her own life. When later reports confirmed her abuse, Gabriel was overwhelmed with guilt, knowing he could have saved her. After granting Escobel absolution for his sins as well, the two priests prepare for their final exorcism. They enter the monastery, kneel in prayer, and begin the ritual. Henry's body twists grotesquely under Asmodeus's control. Gabriel calls out the demon by name, diminishing its power. Both priests continue to pray even as Asmodeus bombards them with visions of their worst sins. The demon then leaps into Amy, forcing her to attack her mother in a violent frenzy. Gabriel realizes that God's presence seems to have vanished from the room, and in a desperate act of sacrifice, he allows the demon to possess him instead, saving the family. At the same time, back in Rome, Cardinal Sullivan experiences a sharp pain in his head as blood trickles from the church crucifix. Gabriel briefly regains control of himself and orders Escobel to take Julia and her children to safety. As they escape, he and the demon remain behind, locked in a brutal battle of wills. Determined not to let Asmodeus use his body for evil, Gabriel retreats into the catacombs and plans to ignite the gas reserves to burn himself alive. Before he can act, the demon attacks viciously. Escobel returns just in time to find Gabriel completely overtaken by Asmodeus. Refusing to abandon him, Escobel prays aloud, urging Gabriel to join him. Their combined faith forces the demon to release its hold. Asmodeus manifests in a final, furious assault. Gabriel wields his cross as a weapon, striking at the demonic apparition of Rosaria, while Escobel faces a haunting vision of Adela. Together, their prayers and faith drive the demon back into the abyss. They complete the final ritual, banishing Asmodeus and cleansing the abbey of its centuries-old curse. In Rome, the Pope praises both priests for their courage, declaring their victory a powerful strike against evil. Cardinal Sullivan takes a leave of absence on Guam, and Cardinal Lumumba is appointed to lead future operations. The Vatican purchases Julia's family's abbey, officially deconsecrating the land. Julia, Amy and Henry safely return to America, with Henry fully recovered. But the victory is not complete. From Father Ojeda's diary, the priests learn that 199 other sites remain, each harboring a fallen angel. Gabriel and Escobel vow to hunt them all down, dedicating their lives to eradicating the remaining evils from Earth. The film ends with a note that Father Gabriel Amorth was a real person, a man who devoted his life to helping the suffering and confronting evil. He continued serving faithfully until his death in Rome in 2016, leaving behind a legacy of compassion, courage, and unshakable faith. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of the exciting content coming your way. Every new video is made with you in mind, and I'd love to have you here for the journey. See you in the next one.